Well, good morning everybody. This is just a quick little video as I have just discovered something really amazing, and if I don't do it now it will disappear very quickly. So I want to show you something. In my compost heap I went to put some kitchen scraps in there a minute ago, and look what I found. Can you see it? The remains of a mushroom growing in my compost. I take that as a sign that this is a healthy heap, because I have got not just kitchen scraps in there, but my egg cartons all moistened up to be wet and broken up, and there on there is some of the mushroom spores. So I wonder if I put those mushroom spores somewhere I could grow mushrooms, but I'm not going to try because I'm just going to leave that there. And there's even a kitchen towel that I use for keeping my veggies fresh, and underneath, look at that, it's going nice and black under there. And of course with all this heat, the compost heap has been really warm, so it needs turning again though, because it's a little bit claggy there. So this week I will, there's the remains of that mushroom, look at that. So yeah, that'll, mushrooms and fungus help to break down a lot of matter, so that's good. I have a healthy compost heap, but it needs turning because there's a lot of green stuff there. I do have, as you can see, there wood chips from the whittlin that I add and layer stuff with. It needs turning again. It's gone a bit cold now, so it's time to turn it. So I'll do that. I'll do that this before next week. Okay, if you see up there, the loofah have finally taken off. They like this spot. Finally some little tomatoes on the tomato plants. That's the only one that's got fruit yet. And yesterday, as I showed you when we first started, we actually got around to putting in the new ponds. Okay, that one we dug down. It's about 4 inches from the surface of the pot, and I'll put stones around. When I go get some more, I'll find some somewhere. So we've got the lower one that we'll keep for frogs. The upper one we'll keep for fish to eat mosquito larvae. So when there aren't frogs in the lower one, we'll put the fish in there, and over winter, so that they get a bit more shelter from the ground around. It won't be so cold. And while there are frogs in there, obviously the fish will be in there. And in the meantime, when we've got the water bats, I will keep an eye on the water bats, and as soon as we've got mosquito larvae in the water bats, the fish will go in the water bats to eat all the larvae. So that way hopefully we'll control the mosquito, and by having the lower pond for the frogs, hopefully we will be able to keep a control on the slugs. Happy days and all around. Okay, here we have my courgettes. I still harvest them almost every day because I don't want them getting big. I like them to use them small, otherwise they just go too soggy when you cook them. There's another courgette plant there. Tidying up going on with the pool. I think we're going to be emptying that out now into the water butts. That'll easily fill all the water butts. And because there's mosquito larvae in there, we played with the idea of putting the fish in there first to eat all the mosquito larvae. But yeah, interesting. It has been a good water source for the garden, because obviously I've told myself not to bother putting chlorine in there, and it's obvious that the water's fine because there are mosquito larvae in there, and it is still standing. That's why they're in there. So next year we'll make sure we've got a pump. They're a bit expensive, but we will get a pump in the pond. And I'll also level out the ground a bit because it's on a slope. That's why it goes all funny at the back and tries to roll down the hill. So I'll level out the ground and see if we can move it further up this way, level out the ground so it's more sturdy, and we'll see how we go there. But oh, there's Buddleia finally coming out, but that's the normal color that you see in the wild ones, and the other one in the front is white, and it's not supposed to be either of them. It's supposed to be a pink one, but there you go. Alright, everything is fine in the garden. I just wanted to show you that. Yesterday morning early, my son went for a walk to the shops by about 6:30, and as he was walking just down from the house, there was a hedgehog on the road that had been killed It wasn't completely flat, just the back end was damaged, and obviously it was a bit of a gory scene to be left on the road and waiting for other cars just to flatten it even more. So my son was concerned because that's the main route children walk to school, and yes, we don't want children knowing what happens to animals because of vehicles, but we're not going to put them through that kind of gore. And he was concerned about the little ones walking to school, so he came home, got some newspaper, wrapped it up in that and brought it home while I dug a hole in the front garden. Now I couldn't get a hole any deeper than the spade's depth, but we put the hedgehog in there, covered it up with the soil and the deep mulch, and then a big heavy stone on top. Hopefully that'll stop the foxes or cats and anything else digging up the hedgehog, and it'll feed the soil, but at least then the little ones will also spare the gore of that. So yeah, that was a bit sad, but other than that, not much news. Oh look, that nasturtium down the bottom, that's an unusual colour. It's like a peachy colour. The usual is orange or red or yellow, but that is a very pretty little peachy colour. Unusual. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, anyway, I've got to hang some washing out, make use of our wonderful modern technology of solar and wind power. And it doesn't look like we're going to get much rain anyway, so I'm going to hang it out. And lately when we have had rain, it's been a few seconds worth up to about maximum of 10 minutes. So I'll hang the washing out anyway. Corn is finally getting some fruit. Hang on, let me show you. Look there, the cobs are there and the flowers. So I've been picking off some of the flowers like this. Oh, hang on. Let me take you back down. I've been harvesting some of the flowers just like that. Oh, look at that pollen falling. Can you see it? And then dropping them straight on the flowers. Yeah. There you go. And I've been doing that just to help try and guarantee some pollination. Because if you, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you shake, no, you can't see the pollen falling. It's amazing, there's little white fluffy clouds. I need to do some cutting back of the calendula. That needs cutting back. I have been using the kale in smoothies. I need to harvest those calendula flowers quickly this morning before they go over. And some more chamomile and feverfew. They all need continuous harvesting at this time of the year, so I can keep drying some for herbs. The beans growing nicely and the sun shining, the first morning sun. Now I don't think I need to water this morning. I only water the tomatoes and squashes really, and any young seedlings like the beetroot over there. That's all I water really. Oh, little birdie, sorry, didn't mean to disturb you. The garden is always full of little birds. Right, so anyway, now we've got the pond done. When the tomatoes are done in there, because I've put them in there temporarily while the pool was up. When the tomatoes are done and I'll remove everything, I'll dismantle that pond and start clearing the way to make the outdoor cooking area over there. So that will be an interesting thing. So next year we'll be able to cook outdoors, both if we want to and if we need to as a backup, just in case. Yeah, there you go. All doing good. Oh, also in the garden, there you go, little berries forming on the Chilean guavas. They have these beautiful tiny little bowl flowers, gorgeous, and then they've turned into berries there. So if I ramp up the feeding of the plant, either with urine or comfrey feed, or both, then that will help fill out the fruit. So obviously this is a later berry to have in the year, because sometimes by the midsummer your raspberries are gone over, the blueberries are all ripe now, the strawberries are almost gone over, although I get alpine strawberries almost right the way through to December. But then we'll have both the Chilean guavas, the blackberries, the elderberries in the wild for foraging. Yeah, So we have a good supply of berries for most of the year. I still even have some joster berries on some of the bushes, and there's still some black currants on those bushes, but I have left those for the birds. So they're not really eating it. But you know, the tomatoes over there, you can see yellowing leaves, need feeding. So I take that as my sign. I need to just ramp up the feeding on them. Oh, look, right there. Mushrooms. Little mushrooms growing. You know, whenever there's fungus, as long as it's not honey fungus or some other looking nasty fungus, then generally I take that. If they're on proper mushrooms, I take that as a sign that there is some soil health in this garden, which means that there will be plant health in this garden. I love this catkins. Look at this on the amaranth. Isn't that beautiful? We're used to seeing the pinky, crimsony, reddy ones, but this is beautiful. And if you look really closely, you can see how the flowers grow in a spiral around the main stem of the flower. Isn't that amazing? Really pretty. And the yacon are still surviving in all that shade. In fact, it's probably doing them more good than not growing in the shade. The beans are still doing really good. Look, more pods. And I harvested some yesterday we had for supper. So yeah, there we are. Oh, busy painting that box there. That'll go in the kitchen. I'll show you that tomorrow. And then there's dried herbs over there. I need to sort out more of those which are properly dried and put them crushed up in jars so I can use them a little later. Things are just about surviving. The caterpillars have found my potting shed in the last week, and they have certainly done their worst, but I'll transplant these swede immediately in the next, well, say by Monday. No, not Monday, we're going away on Monday. Going on a day out, and so I'll do that by Saturday, I think. Sort out these seedlings and find permanent places for them, so that they can have a bit more soil. Also, the feverfew there, I really ought to sort more of them and put them out the front garden. And the chard I'll put out the front as well and harvest them, but some of them I'll leave to go to seed. So whatever I want to keep for seed, because you have to leave it for quite a long season, I'll put them in the front garden so they can just do their thing. And then the celeriac as well, one of them I'll put in the front garden for seed as well, so I can grow my own seed. Yeah, the asters over there, the flowers, they're ready to be potted on again, I think. But I like to keep them in there a bit longer. I don't want the slugs to get them. It looks like the caterpillars already are having a go. Teensy weensy little spider right there with his web. Can you see that web? Oh, you can't see it, can you? You can see some of it. There's a tiny little spider there. Really cute. Oh, yeah, more caterpillars. They're just wrecking my Brussels sprouts, which have to be potted on. The marshmallow holding on, struggling in those tiny little plug trays, so they need potting on soon. Yeah, I'll put them in the black pots like that. I think that'll be alright if I harvest them within 2 years for the roots. And I'll just keep seed from one plant, because they make so many seeds. It's unbelievable. There's my lettuces going to seed there, so I'm going to save seed from them. And I think that's the best way to keep viable seed, is to grow your own, really, and to store them properly and stratify them properly. Because I can't always guarantee that I'll be able to afford seeds. And if I grow my own, I could save that money for the one thing that I really cannot afford every year, and that is the compost, because I just cannot make enough for this garden, not yet. The soil is, I mean, it's still a new garden really. The back garden I've only been working on properly for 2 years, and the front garden for 1 year. So it's still early days, and for me to be able to create more soil over time, it'll be at least another year or two before I can start slowing down on the, you know, the amount of compost I have to use. So once that's there, within 5 years, I think I'm not going to need to use that much compost anymore, because we'll be able to, you know, continually feed the soil by not digging and by growing the right crops in the right spot in a rotation on the annuals, and chop and drop in with the perennials, and then making whatever compost I can. So yeah, and making my own feed. So hopefully within 5 years I will be able to make enough organic matter in this garden and won't have to buy as much compost. I think in a city garden or a suburban garden you will always need to buy in some compost, because I don't think you could make enough in small spaces. So there you go. We'll figure it out. Enjoy the day. Look at that lovely weather out there, and the sun is shining. Oh, that's just so lovely. Oh, I love being in the garden. Anyway, time to get my grandson to school. He stayed over. And I hope you all have a lovely, sunny, happy day. Bye.